Hello guys, welcome back again to Veritas. We are going to be looking at the Sudan question. Well, a lot has been happening of late, and I want us to dive into the origins of the conflict in Sudan. So, Sudan is Africa's third largest country, sitting south of Egypt and bordering the Red Sea. Sudan also neighbors Eritrea, Ethiopia, South Sudan, Central African Republic, Chad, and Libya. The country's name is derived from the Arabic Bilad al-Sudan, which means land of the blacks. Estimated population is 39 million, of which 52% are black and 39% are Arab. The government has attempted to introduce Sharia law since 1983. 70% of the population is Muslim, while traditionalists and Christians who largely occupy the south account for 30%. Darfur is a region in the west of Sudan. Three largest African tribes in Darfur are the Fur, Masalit, and Zagawa. Most people of African descent are farmers in Darfur. Most of the Arab people are nomadic herders. There is fierce competition for land between the herders and farmers, including violent clashes between the two groups from 1987 to 1989. This competition has fueled conflict in Darfur. Well, Sudan was a British colony which achieved independence in 1956. Civil war was already brewing between the north and the south. Army coups in 1958 and 1969 plus civil war impeded attempts to build a parliamentary democracy. 1972 Addis Agreement enforced peace agreement between the government and the separatist southern rebels. Civil war was sparked in 1983 when the military regime attempted to impose Sharia law to Islamicize all of Sudan. 1983, the Sudan People's Liberation Army, SPLA, led an insurrection in the south regions dominated by the traditionalists and Christians. In 1989, compromise between the ruling government and southern opposition seemed imminent, but Omar al-Bashir, a political and religious extreme military leader, led a successful coup. He has been elected only once, in the 1996 elections. 1996, the US withdrew its ambassador to Sudan, but the consulate remains open. In 1997, US imposed economic sanctions prohibiting investment in Sudan by US businesses. In 2003, just as negotiations were to end the civil war were progressing, a new rebellion spawned in the western province of Darfur when ethnic African rebel group including the Sudan Liberation Army attacked military installations. The Sudan Liberation Army attack was rooted both in belief that the government was neglecting Darfur and its objections to the government preference to hiring ethnic Arabs as top government officials. The government enlisted Janjaweed armed nomads from the north to attack villages that ostensibly harbored rebels. Government bombed villages in Darfur within hours, and Janjaweed rode in with horses and camels to pillage homes and rape and murder civilians. What are the effects of war? 4 million people have been displaced and 2 million have died. Opposition groups as well as government have been accused of atrocities. Since 2003, violence in Darfur, called ethnic cleansing by others, a genocide, has left 50,000 to 80,000 dead and estimated 1.2 million to 2 million people displaced. An estimated 200,000 have escaped to Chad, where they are living in refugee camps. An estimated 2.3 million civilians in Darfur are in need of emergency aid. But bottlenecks created by both the government and the rebel forces have cut them off. The current conflict between forces loyal to two rival generals, who each lead a faction of the country's military. One is General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, head of the armed forces, and his deputy General Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, who is better known as Hemedti, leader of the paramilitary group known as the Rapid Support Forces. Shootings, which began on April the 15th, made tensions to build up between the army and the RSF for quite some time. However, as the leaders fought for supremacy, the two are deadlocked in negotiations that are taking quite a long time to happen. So the two have ruled since they have taken power in 2021. Rivalries have been there going back to the regime of the dictator Omar al-Bashir. During his 30-year rule, he built up a form of double security forces that have been set against each other to maintain control. The RSF has its origins in the notorious Janjaweed militia used by al-Bashir to put down rebellions in the Darfur region. Later, the militia has been formalized into the RSF under Hemedti, given tasks such as border control, fighting alongside Yemen, Saudi and the Emirati troops. Hemedti, meanwhile, has built businesses, while the army's leadership has watched his rise with alarm. Nevertheless, Hemedti and Burhan, both of them cooperated in overthrowing al-Bashir in 2019, and 2 years later they have also overthrown the transitional government for various reasons. Well, I think the people of Sudan need peace. Thank you very much for following. Please watch the previous videos so that you may be able to understand more about Africa. Please subscribe, share and comment. Remember to like. Stay tuned for the next video.